What's up, guys? For today's video, I'll be showing whether or not a third-party controller has any significant impact on your accuracy when playing first-person shooters. Most third-party controllers have some sort of problem with the analogs, making it much more difficult to turn or aim, so I think it would be a great idea to make an experiment to test this out on. So what I'm going to do is make two separate PlayStation accounts and play Black Ops 1's Combat Training to test this out on. I picked that game because it has a combat record that shows stats in great detail, which would make it perfect for this kind of experiment. On one account, I'll use the Sony Dualshock, and the other, the Nyko Core that I recently reviewed.
So I've set up some rules to help make these tests as accurate as I possibly can, and you can take a look at those rules in the description below so I don't take up too much time explaining everything. But in a nutshell, it's going to be set up so I play 10 matches on each account with 6 specific weapons across 5 maps. Both accounts are going to have the same exact class setup per map, so nothing is going to be different between the two tests other than the actual controller being used. I'm sure some of you are probably saying, well, Foxy, you're playing against bots, so it doesn't count. It doesn't really make that much of a difference if I play against bots or not. Obviously, if this were against real players, my accuracy and kill death won't be nearly as high. However, if the accuracy stats still show a considerable difference between the two controllers, then it's going to have a similar result if I played against real players. So just keep that in mind. And I'm sure you're also wondering why I'm even making this video now since the PS4 and Xbox One are the current generation of systems. And that's a very good question. The reason is, say those systems start to get third-party controllers. Well, if the analogs aren't as good on those like the stock controllers by Sony and Microsoft, then it's going to have, again, a similar result to what I'm showing here. Unless, of course, third parties step up their game and make much better designed sticks, but I just don't see that happening.
Well, I guess the only thing left to do is to test out this experiment, so here we go. I gotta say, using this Nyko was an absolute miserable experience. Plus, doing this for about 3 hours wasn't much fun either. Anyway, the results are very interesting, so first let's take a look at the overall information.
So using the DualShock 3, my accuracy was a total of 42.66%. The other important thing to point out is that my kill death was 8.13. The Nyko had very different results with a total accuracy of only 33.95%, while the kill death was just under 5. So what this means is that the Nyko did 20% worse on the accuracy portion of this test, and 40% worse on the kill death. And I noticed that when I was using the Nyko, not only was I having a horrible time trying to aim at the bots, especially at anything outside of close range, but I was taking a lot more time to line up my shots. I'm more than positive that this is the reason why I died so much and why my kill death for this controller is so much lower than the Sony one. Moving on, I want to show the stats per gun both with kill death and accuracy so we can take a look at this in even more detail. Every single stat on the Sony's test was better, except, oddly enough, the MP5 on the Nyko somehow got a higher kill death by 1 point. But I'm going to say this is more chance than anything due to everything else on the kill death portion was about half less than on the Sony. Accuracy is a little bit different. Between the two controllers, the MP5, M16, and Dragunov's accuracy was worse using the Nyko by 10 to 15%. All of the other guns had a much larger difference, ranging from 18 to the highest being the Enfield at 32.8%. So what this means is that when I was using the Enfield on the Nyko, I was missing 32.8% more than I would with the Sony. That's pretty fucking significant if you ask me.
So as you can see, there's a very big difference between using a Sony and a third-party controller for the use of a first-person shooter. But one thing to consider is that all third-party controllers are going to handle a little bit different. One might have worse analogs than the Nyko Core that I used, or on the opposite side it could be better. It all just depends on the actual controller being used. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you for watching like always, and I hope you enjoyed this little experiment.